Over a month, 32 days to be exact, have been lost to blackouts since the start of this year. That's over 700 hours without electricity. And with winter around the corner, how much worse can it possibly get? Let's unpack this with energy expert Lungile Mashele. Lungile, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. It's a pretty worrying picture given the fact that SCom's now saying we've had more trips at power stations than anticipated and actually than previous years. So where are we in any improvements?
We're not anticipating any improvements, if I'm being very, very honest. I think for the first time in a very long time, SCom was explicit about the state of their plant and to tell us that they are performing at the worst that they've ever performed. And even if you look at their track record since the leadership took over, current leadership, over the last 3 years, it has deteriorated incredibly. The COO was at pains to explain, just how bad the situation actually is. It's the trips, it's the energy availability factor at the lowest that it's ever been. It's the EUF that they're burning, or rather they're overutilizing their coal-fired plants as well. It's the unplanned outages, which have reached a record high in the last year. They do not have a grip on what's happening with their plant, and it's affecting the entire country.
So given what you're saying and the track record, do you think this current leadership team needs to get the boot?
It's difficult to say because you've got the operational challenges, and that is at the behest of the COO. Then you've got the leadership challenges, and they have explained numerous times that they have issues with DPE, Treasury, in terms of obtaining money. In terms of changing leadership, I don't think that is going to change anything. Whoever comes on board will face exactly the same issues. That being said, you do have operational issues that can be resolved and can be sorted out if you have a competent chief operating officer in place. And unfortunately, I don't think that that's what SCom has currently.
Oh, okay. Now, talk to me about what SCom can do right now, because obviously there's maintenance work being done at power stations, right? And it says that is absolutely necessary to ensure that the national grid does not suffer years from now. It says it needs between 4,000 and 6,000 megawatts of generation capacity to actually do its maintenance work, but we know that's not going to happen anytime soon. So what's the way forward in that regard? Because there seems to be a catch-22 situation right now in this day and time.
The unfortunate thing with winter is that your demand is at its highest, naturally. I mean, it's cold, people need heating. And this is why SCom needs to run a proper maintenance program in summer. You cannot start talking about a lack of maintenance in winter. The horse has bolted at that point. Okay, so at the current point, SCom needs to focus on two things. This is their unplanned outages, and make sure that they limit those to at least 12,000 megawatts unplanned outages. On most days now, what we're seeing is we're averaging about 14, 15, even 16,000 as of last night, which is unplanned outages. The other thing which they need to look at is demand side management. We have demand of about 32,000 megawatts currently. This is what we typically see in the middle of winter. So that's telling me that in the middle of winter, June, July, we will be seeing highs of about 35,000 megawatts. What are they doing for this demand side management? Educating people. Let's go back to where we were in 2008 with the light bulbs, switching off those, with swimming pool pumps, with making sure that unnecessary lights are actually off, switching off heaters, certain things that people can do to reduce demand also. In terms of long-term reliability maintenance, you plan for that now, but you execute in summer.
Yeah, and talk to me about how South Africans can actually do more, because, I mean, switching off your geyser, your lights and all of that, how much impact does that have on the national grid?
Oh, it has a huge impact. Let's take from 2008 when we rolled out, when SCom rather rolled out the program where they were exchanging light bulbs. Just from that program alone of more efficient light bulbs, they were able to save about 2,500 megawatts. Okay, so it is an incredible difference that we can make. I mean, I'm thinking now in 2020, when we had lockdown, there was an incredible drop in demand for a number of reasons. But one of the things that obviously people were at home. And I think we need to start speaking honestly about if we can have people who can work at home, working from home, to reduce demand from large load centers, especially in cities. If you're looking at central Cape Town, looking at central Sandton CBD, reducing that, having people working in a distributed manner in their homes certainly goes a long way as well.
And then also IPPs and the importance of actually fast-tracking this so that there can be some sort of relief for SCom to do its maintenance work. Where do you see this process right now? Governments keep saying that they've made it pretty easy, that we're going to see these independent power producers in full force. But is it going to help right now, or do we still have that as a long-term plan?
I want to make something very clear. We've been with this path of independent power producers since 2011. SCom has added about 6,000 odd megawatts from the IPPs. On any given night, you're going to get anything between 500 to 1,000 megawatts, depending on the wind that we have on that day. Solar will not be available. And this is what SCom has been saying, that the biggest issue that they have is the evening peak. And this is why for this week, we've been load shedding from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m. Your renewables will not necessarily help you during this time. You need firm capacity. And even if we were to add in more renewables, it's not going to help us. We need more firm capacity, even if it's from IPPs or wherever it is that it comes from. And we need battery, we need backup, we need lots of solutions, but that are able to counter intermittent renewables ultimately.
So we're going to be dark for a long time to come, basically, right?
So SCom told us that, budget for about 100 days odd of, load shedding during winter. And by the looks of things, this is the beginning of it. And we have just ascended. So buckle up. It's going to be another rough 3 months.
It's a miserable situation, I can tell you that much. It makes us all very upset. Thank you so much for your input. Appreciate it. Energy expert Lungile Mashele.